Well, hello. Welcome to week 2 of this unscripted yoga class that is now going completely online for the remainder of the semester. So, with that in mind, please be checking the discussion board. That's an additional tab off of Canvas, and you're going to be responsible for some work there. There's been emails sent out about that. Also, just for today, we are going to be focused on eye rest, the breath work, noticing your breath. So we will work through, depending on how much time we have left when we get through this practice, we will work through the foundational stuff that we talked about the first week, which is the inner resource or your happy place, your place of ground, safety, and security. So remind yourself of what that is right now or revise it as you're going through the practice. And then the next part is your heartfelt desire or wish or prayer for your life or for someone else or for the world. I'm sure right now everyone has a wish for good health in this world. And then from there, what is your intention for today? What little bit of that heartfelt desire can you bite off and maybe process through in this practice or in the meditation at the end? So today we're going to be focused on standing poses. And I know you all probably noticed I'm wearing a mic. Hopefully it's going to help the sound be better. It did in my demos, but when I'm doing down dog, it does get a little loud when I get really close to it like that. So just be aware of that. But better that than all that echoey stuff in the background. So just be aware of that. And I hope this sounds a little bit better. So standing poses, and this is for a Yoga 2 class. So we're going to include some revolved poses that were not necessarily in Yoga 1. For some of you, we kind of did get to some of that, but just looking through here, a little bit of wall work and then pranayama practice. We will be doing a prep for headstand today. Don't freak out. We're not going to actually do a headstand unless you want to. I'll just show you how to do a prep, which will in the long run help you make the proper coordination between your body and your eyes, your eye hand, not really eye hand, but eye body coordination, I guess you could say, to kind of get comfortable with being upside down without having your legs up in the air. So we will work through that and then do a nice eye rest meditation at the end. I will be available. I'm just going to let you know this. I will be available from 2 to 5 on, or 2 to 3, not 2 to 5, 2 to 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you have any questions, if you aren't sure if you're doing a pose right and you want to go over that with me, I'm going to make myself available. Still have to figure out Zoom for myself, but that's probably what we're going to be using to do that. During our regularly scheduled class time. If there aren't any questions during that time, then I will probably offer up an eye rest meditation live streamed Zoom, so to help maybe calm the nerves a little bit. So if you want to invite any of your friends to join us late, after we've gone through our own stuff for that, you're welcome to, because I know the whole campus could really probably use a little bit of calming of the nerves. So, are you all ready? Let's go ahead and get started. For this one, you will may need a block. It's kind of up to you. If you've noticed in standing poses in the past that you don't need a block, yes, I know. I just wiped my face. I'll wash my hands before I do anything else. If you've noticed that you need a block for standing poses, then these are the enemy. Then get one. Or if you don't have a block, a full box of tissues actually works as a nice block. So you can use that. I don't recommend an empty one. They don't have enough density to really work well. So let's get started. So we're going to start. I'm just going to put this near the floor. Sorry about that. I need to turn this off. Probably. Go to sleep. All right, so stand at the front of your mat in mountain pose, Samastitihi. So let your feet, this is called even standing, so let your weight be balanced between both feet. If your feet were rectangles, the corners being the base of your big toe, base of your pinky toe, and inner and outer back edges of your heels, imagine pushing your weight evenly down through all four corners or all four sides of that rectangle with both feet. And then we'll take a just quick scan through the body from head down to toe, noticing any sensations that might be present in your body in this moment. Maybe you feel a little jittery. For me, it kind of shows up as a tightness in the diaphragm and a little bit of nervousness as I move between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So the parasympathetic is rest and digest, so it tends to live down in your abdomen, and when everything is peaceful and good, we can digest our food and do all the things that the abdominal organs do for us. But when we're when we're in stress, we need to move away from things that are, or be still, fight or flight. Are you going to fight? Are you going to flight? Or are you going to freeze? What are you going to do? The main organs that we need working are your heart and your lungs. So everything else turns off. So notice for yourself, if your digestion's a little off lately with everything that's been going on, that might be a very normal response to all that's been going on. And we'll let the body have a little time to warm up by doing 2 sun salutes. So I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see from a side angle what I'm doing here. So hands at my side in mountain pose. Everybody, let's exhale and hold the air out for 1 small kumbhaka. And then together, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, hands to your knees, gazing out, flat back. Exhale, hands down, step the right foot back, lower the right knee. Remember, if you need extra support under your knee, you can fold up your blanket or use a towel. Inhale into crescent pose. Exhale the hands back down to the ground. And on an inhale, step that left foot back to down dog and walk the dog. Wag the tail, whatever feels good. Letting yourself warm up this very first sun salute. Straight line from the wrist to the hips. Another straight line from the hips to the heels. Heels aren't necessarily all the way on the floor. And then to get to the other side, inhale, reach that same right leg up. 3-leg dog. Bending the knee, step it forward. Lower the left knee and inhale into crescent on the other side of your body. Exhale, bring the hands back down to the ground. On an inhale, step the left foot forward and lengthen to the halfway point. Exhale, fold. Inhale, unfold. And exhale, bring hands down to your heart. On the very next breath, inhale, reach up. Second sun salute. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gaze out. And exhale, step the left foot back, lower the left knee, other side. Inhale, reaching up into crescent. If that's too much for you, you can keep a hand on the block or have 2 blocks if you like. And then exhale the hands back down to the ground. Inhale, step the right foot back to down dog and breathe. The neck be relaxed, shoulders down the back, abdomen in, buttocks shining out behind you. And then inhale the left leg straight up, bend the knee, step it through and forward, lowering the right knee to the ground. Inhale into crescent on the other side of your body. And exhale the hands back down to the ground. Inhale, step the right foot forward, lengthen to the halfway point. And exhale, fold. Inhale, unfold, arms overhead. And exhale the hands down to the heart. Those are our two sun salutes. So now we're going to move into some of the standing poses, the pretty much gold standards. We did some of these last week, but in a more dynamic, moving way. So now we're going to do them static, starting with triangle pose. So I'm going to step 1 foot back, and you'll notice that my heels are perpendicular, or my feet are perpendicular to each other. Actually, yeah, you can see my feet. So the front foot, toes are facing off the front end of the mat. The back foot, the toes are facing towards the camera. And then if I drew a line from that front heel all the way back, either the heels would intersect or the foot would fall behind the heel. Don't let the heel run into your foot. That's not good. So then what we're going to do is let this hip jut out. And if you recall, this was a problem in Warrior too. But this is where it kind of originates, is because we let it jut out for triangle and then tip over. Either find some part of your leg, or if you want, you can use a block for your hand. Your choice. I'm going to use my leg. And then open your heart upward. So from here, take a little gaze down at your leg. Notice if your head is right over the leg. A lot of times our head is inside the leg like this. So just let everything open. Try to feel flat, or feel as if there's a wall behind you. And then look up at your hand. Your gaze should be up at the thumb, making sure your knees are straight. And we're going to use our legs to unfold now. So feel as if your feet are going to rip the mat in two and unfold, coming up. Turn the feet. I'm going to do this on the other side. Check out that heel alignment. It might have gotten off a little. Reaching forward with the opposite hand, tipping over, taking your gaze down for just a moment to see if your head is right over the leg, not inside of the leg, and then take it back up. If you want to go a little further with this, you can open the heart, let the heart go back, or the hand go back, and the heart opens upward. That is fine. And I hope you're breathing. I want to get to about 5 breaths here. And then ripping that mat in two again, unfold all the way up. And then we're going to turn our feet the other way again. This time we're going to do side angle pose. So again, checking out the heel alignment, adding a bend in the front knee. You can either take your elbow to the knee or take your hand to a block. Palm flat on the block, and then let the other arm swim way out over your head. So this is called side angle. Think about making a straight line from the tip of your fingers all the way down to the tip of your toes. And breathe. If you want to open the heart a bit, you can, or if you feel like you need to protect it, you can gaze down. Your choice. And then unfolding up, take your block with you as you go over to the other side if you're using a block. Bend the opposite knee, hand to the block or elbow to the knee, and then swim your hand all the way out over your head. Breathing. And then unfolding back up. We are moving on to Warrior Two. So back to the other side again. Taking that same bend in the knee. Still a reminder, it's not too far bent or not bent far enough, and also inside and outside. We want the knee stacked right over the ankle. And then we're just going to let the arms rise up. So now check out that hip. Did it jut out or is it tucked under? If it's jut out, you're leaning forward a little bit too much. So rise up, and then shoulders, don't let them be here. Let them relax down. Take your gaze out over the front hand and just breathe. To move to the other side, as you inhale, let the arms go up and straighten your knee. Turn your feet. Check out the heel alignment. And then as you bend the other knee, take your arms back to parallel with the ground. Check out the knee, making sure it's stacked. Shoulders down. Oh, look at my hip. Boom. fix it. Shoulders down. Gaze out over that front hand, which is now to the back of my mat. Breathing. And then we're going to come back to the middle for warrior one now and warrior three. So I'm going to take my block and put it back at the front of my mat, but in the middle, kind of stacked like a tower like this, right in the middle of that front edge. So if this were my front edge, it would be kind of like that in the middle, but I'm going to put it over here so you can see this from the side. Actually, I'm going to do it kind of both ways. So if I do it from the front, warrior one, you start at the front of your mat, and we're just going to step the right foot back, add a bend in the left knee. And the natural tendency is for my hips to kind of go off to the side. We don't really want that. We want the hips to be forward. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the weeks to come with when we do the different directions of the spine and the hips. But for right now, I just want you to focus on keeping your hips forward. Now, what might happen is as you turn your hips forward, the back heel is going to come up. So I'll turn this way so you can see that a little bit more. So as I turn my hips, the back heel might not want to be down. It might want to be up. And I, being a yoga therapist, not just a yoga teacher, believe that you should let that energy go out your hip. People that don't are having to have hip replacements now after years and years of practicing and really trying to contort their body into shapes that they're not really meant to do. So really just let that go. Let the hips be forward. But if the heel needs to be up, let it be up. So this is much like crescent pose, only standing. I can get my heel down a little bit more, so I'm going to bring it down. So just let the arms be up, shoulders down. And imagine you're holding a big old bubble, like the big bubbles in The Wizard of Oz, and you don't want it to pop, but you also don't want it to float away. So have about that much resistance in your arms, kind of a gentle resistance. And then from here, just for fun and because this is supposed to be warrior or yoga 2, we are going to move into warrior 3 from warrior 1. Don't ask why they're all in this order. And that's where the block is going to come in handy. You can leave your hands on the block and let your back leg come up. Over time, block wasn't very steady. Over time, you hopefully will end up in a T shape. And then let's just bend that knee and go back into warrior 1. And pick up your block, take it down to the other side. We're going to do this the other way. I think I've got that right. Yeah. All right. Other side. So now the knee is bent. My hips are facing forward. My back heel isn't necessarily all the way down. Shoulders are relaxed and down. Hold your soap bubble. Palms facing each other. And then from here, you can either go straight into, if you've got a wall, you can actually use that as well. If you want a block, you can use that. However you want to get into warrior 3. And then bending the knee back into warrior 1. And then let's let the arms come down and step up. A little bit of play there. Next is tree pose. We didn't do this last week. So a lot of times when people do tree pose, they just are like, oh, tree pose, and then they're all over the place like this. No. Focus on your roots. So focus on the leg that's down. Find the 4 corners of that foot like we did before. You might even rock forward and back to find the balance there. And then take the other leg over, maybe keeping your big toe down as a kickstand. And just notice what that feels like. If that feels balanced, then maybe let it creep up to your your shin. Don't stop on the knee because the knee has a lot of ligaments and stuff, so we don't want to hurt ourselves. So if you want to go up higher, take it above the knee. You can bring your hands into prayer if you like. You can let your branches grow and grow even more. Be a big tree, whatever you want to do. Maybe some kudzu comes along and some wind, and maybe you even fall over eventually. So let's try that on the other side. Take a little bit of time with your roots. Find your rooted foot. Find your balance. And then wherever you can assist, like I'm doing here. I have slippy pants, so it's not going to stay exactly where I want. I'm just going to go down here for right now because it's okay. It helps to find a gaze point on the floor so that your eyes stay focused. And you can go through all the different variations if you like. It's up to you. And then coming down. Next is pyramid pose. Pyramid pose is a bit like warrior, or a bit like triangle, only turned sideways. So in that the knees are straight. So I'm going to, and it's a little bit like warrior one as far as what the hips are doing. So just step 1 foot back. Knees are going to stay straight. I'm not going to have that front knee bent. It's straight. And then for this one, later in the semester, we'll do one with the hands behind the back, but we're not going to do that today. For right now, all I want you to do is think about stretching this hamstring of the front leg on the back of the leg here. So the knee is straight, and this hip on the front, instead of it coming forward, think about pushing it back. As you push it back, forward fold. And this is another one where you want to imagine a teacup on each one of your buttocks. As you push that leg back, you should start to feel a stretch on the back of the thigh, on the hamstring. Head maybe is, and the torso is maybe parallel with the ground. Don't forget to breathe. You can breathe in and out through your nose. We'll talk a little bit more about that today as we move into the breath. And then unfold. Let's change our legs. I'll change and do this facing forward so you can see a different angle as well. Same thing I talked about earlier with the heel applies for this pose. So now my left, probably looks like right to you, I'm not sure, needs to push back. Buttocks are parallel with the ground. So is the torso. It's like your whole back could be a table. You should really feel a good stretch in the back of the front thigh. And unhinge, step to the front. Next pose is revolved triangle. So revolved means, in this case, kind of the opposite. So with a regular triangle that we were doing earlier, checking out my heels, this is my left leg, so my left hand's going to go to my left leg. And just kind of, that's regular triangle. So with a revolved triangle, my opposite hand, my right hand, is going to go to the left leg. And the other hand's going to go up. But my hips, when I do this, they don't feel real comfortable doing this. It's sort of what we were talking about earlier with the heel. So what I have to do in order to do a revolved triangle is turn my whole body just like I would for warrior one or for pyramid. So I'm facing the side. I'll face this way for you. So triangle would have been like this. Revolved triangle needs to turn like this. And I take my opposite hand to the leg. The other one can go up, or it can rest on your back. You can also, if you like, use a block. I will say block. If it's on the inside of your leg like this, it's a little easier. If you go to the outside, that's considered a little bit more advanced. Both are fine. It's just wherever you are. Today, with the stress that's going on in the world, I'm going to be gentle with myself and go to the inside of my leg. So I'm going to have my palm flat, and I'm just going to open. My back heel feels like it wants to come up a little bit. That's fine. Knees are straight. I had my knee bent. Sorry about that. And then we'll change and do this on the other side. Also, don't feel like you have to have your feet like you're on a balance beam. Use the width of your mat to give you a little bit more stability. So I'm going to put that down inside of my foot. Another thing to think about as you're getting into this is letting your hips go backwards. So we talked about shining the lights on the ceiling. So same thing here, hand to the block and then turning your head into the leg. Arm can go up or on the back, whatever feels comfortable for you. So think about your hips being parallel with the ground and the shoulders being more vertical, perpendicular to the hips. It's definitely a twist. And then I'm going to step forward. So now prayer twist. So this is sort of like revolved side angle pose. So just to refresh our memory, side angle pose is like this. So revolved or prayer twist is going to turn like this. I'm going to do it on the other side so I'm facing you. And again, it's towards the end of the mat, not turned sideways. Sideways would be side angle pose. And then I'm going to turn myself with a bent knee to do the revolved version. I want my hands to be in front of the camera so you can see. So I'm going to take my elbow to the outside of the knee and my hands are going to come into prayer. Then I'm going to push this elbow into the knee to try to get a little bit more twist so that my hands are in front of my heart. Notice my heel, my back heel is up as I'm doing this. And I'm breathing in 3. Opposite way. So the opposite elbow is the one that's going to come across my body. That's the connection. Even though I've got my hands here, it's this connection is the opposites. Breathing through the nose. And then come on up. Next is straddle forward folding. So take your legs into a straddle. The further away from each other they are, the easier this is to do. It's kind of up to you. But you just think, if you think of geometry, this angle, from here to here is a lot less distance than here to here. So the further apart, the easier it is to do. And this is free form. I'm just going to let you think about how your body feels right now and just give it whatever it needs. You can just take a forward folding, let your hands rest on the ground. You can reach out for your feet. Maybe you want to hang over one leg or the other leg. Maybe you want to twist one hand to the earth, one hand to the sky. Maybe you want to take your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers and fold. Or maybe there's something else that calls to you that I didn't mention. Give yourself that little bit of a break. And breathe. Maybe you want to bend one knee and then the other knee back and forth. Or maybe this is a spot for a little improvised cat-cow. It's up to you. Whatever feels good. So we're going to come up and we're going to do a little bit of wall work now. So I have a wall behind me here. This is my home office in case you were wondering. My daughter picked this color, not me, but I've come to like it. So we're going to combine now Tree Warrior 3, Dancer Pose, which we haven't done yet, and then we'll do a little bit of clock hand work. So I like to do these kind of as a sequence. I like having the wall because it's easy to fall with these. And I like using the leg that is closest to the wall as the one that stays on the floor. So we'll start by, from here, find your roots, and then move into whatever form of tree you want. You can, this is like a kickstand having the wall here. It's kind of up to you if you want to touch it or if you need to touch it. But then from here, we're going to just move into Warrior Three. And then from here, I'm going to bend that leg that's up, grab the foot, and then go into Dancer. My body's feeling rather tight today, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to hold this, but the tendency when you're doing this, if you feel like you're going to come out of it, is to grab tighter with your hand. Don't do that, let go, just like I just did. Let go if you feel like you're going to fall. Just let go. And then from here, you can go back into Warrior Three, and then back into Tree. And then let that go. Let's see if the other side cooperates more. It typically does, so we'll see. Find the four corners of your feet. Find your tree pose. And explode out into Warrior Three. Reach around behind you. Find your foot. Go into Dancer. Back into Warrior Three. And then back up into Tree. And then down. Last one for the wall is especially for shoulder issues. It's clock hands. So we're going to start with our hand. We'll come up so you can see my hand kind of potted. Let's do it this way. If this was the wall, if this hand was the wall, I'm going to have my fingers kind of up and my palm is not going to be down on the wall. I want you to see that because it's going to be harder to see from a distance. So I'm going to turn into the wall, take one hand up to 12 o'clock with the fingertips only on the wall. And then with my right arm is the one that's up. So I'm going to turn away from it and notice how that feels. I'm going to turn back in, move my hand over to 1 o'clock, turn away from it. Notice how that feels. And keep going all the way down to 6 o'clock with this arm. I'm starting to feel something there at 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock-ish. Feels a bigger stretch. 4 o'clock. So for me, the 2 to 3 o'clock range for this arm is really tight. 5 o'clock. And then almost 6 o'clock. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other arm. Go back up to 12 o'clock, and this time I'm going to turn the other way. Don't forget, for every time you move your hand, you're going to turn back into the wall and then turn away. So now I'm at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Oh, baby. And then 9 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock. And 6 o'clock. So for everyone, it's going to be a little different as far as where that shoulder hurts. Shoulders are the most complicated joint in the body. And you know, what is pain for me might not be a problem for you. You might have pain on, like for me, it's the front of the shoulder. For you, it might be the back. So everyone's a little different in that regard. All right. So the last one of the poses that we're going to do before we get into breath work is this prep for headstand. It's called dolphin pose, but think of it as a forearm down dog. So I am going to come down on hands and knees, bring my forearms down, palms flat on the ground, I have my toes tucked behind me. I don't know if you can see that. I might scooch up a little teeny bit. Toes are tucked. And then I'm going to lift my knees and push my heels back. So my head's not down. My head is up. You see, I can move. But the positioning of my body is, upper body at least, is the same as it will be when I go into a headstand. So just don't do anything more this week than be with that. Just breathe. Keep your eyes open if you can. If you can't keep them, you can close them, but try to keep your eyes open and really become aware of what it feels like to be in this position, this upside down position. And we will eventually kick up. If you want, you can also take this to the wall with your forearms down, fingertips almost at the wall. Same thing. And just kind of get used to it. And you can even lift one leg and then the other leg back and forth, just to see what that feels like. So we're not going to go any further than that this week. Just do a little bit of gentle getting ready for headstand that's coming. Let me just show you my headless headstand machine. I might demo on that, and if we ever do have the opportunity to get back together this semester, I'll bring it in and we can all try it out. Some of you have already. In fact, I think there's almost all of you have. So I'd like to invite you now. We're going to do a little pranayama work, which also is really good for the pelvic floor. And guys, this is good for you too. It's good for everyone to have a strong pelvic floor. So we're going to do this and then stay down there and move into some more meditation. If you know, I'm just going to demonstrate this now so that you can be aware. If you know that your body needs a little bend in your knees, you have a couple choices. At school, we used yoga blocks under the knees. Back up a little. I'm not sure if you can see. Just to kind of bring some relaxation. At home, if you've got a nice blanket that you can roll up, or a bolster or pillows, feel free to do that under your knees as well. So have these, if you need something under your knees, if you have lower back pain, especially, you may need them. Just have something at the ready close by. We're going to start laying down with the feet on the floor, though, and the knees bent up. So just take a couple breaths. And as you breathe here, and just notice the movement in your body as you're breathing. Notice if, for you, the abdomen is moving first, or the chest, or maybe even take one hand to the chest and one hand to the abdomen, one hand like on the heart or close by. I'm going to do it this way because of the microphone. Keep your elbows on the floor and take a breath in and notice if those hands are moving. And we're going to be moving into values in our philosophy. So this would be, the hand on the top is prana, the receiving of things. If it's moving as you breathe, then you're open to receiving things. The hand on the belly is apana or apana, depending on how you pronounce that. And that's the releasing of things. So air is received, digestion releases. Think of it that way. It helps. And there's more values that we'll discuss on the discussion board. So I'm going to pull a little geometry in right now. Imagine that there's a line segment between your sitting bones underneath of you, the bones that are underneath of you when you sit, just one little line segment. And for right now, what we want to do is shorten that line. Just move those two buttocks closer to each other to make that line segment shorter. And just notice how that feels, breathing over top of that, trying to have the belly expand with each breath in. And then add on to that another line segment, one from your pubic bone on the front of your body, straight through the body to the tailbone on the back. And shorten that line while shortening the line between the sitting bones. Everything pulling into the center. For women, this is what we call a Kegel. For men, this is how you can experience a Kegel. And continue to breathe while holding both of those line segments together. And the third line segment is from hip point to hip point. There's little bony knobs that stick out at your hips. So same thing, try to pull them into the middle while holding the other two at the same time. So 3 different points, and then breathe. Big belly breaths, or attempt to, over top of that. You probably will begin to notice a wall of abdominal muscles getting in the way of that. And then just to kind of relax the low back, take the lowest edges of your hip, your back ribs, and push them into the ground. Flatten your back out a little bit while you're holding all of this. And breathe. Feel that wall of abdominals there. So what we're doing right now is what you should be doing whenever someone says, engage your core. This breaks it down into its parts. And a little shout out to one of my professors when I was in graduate school, Marlisa Sullivan, for teaching this to me. Thank you. So if you want to go a little bit further with this, if this feels easy and you want to go further, then do what I'm about to do. If this is hard, then just keep trying to hold. And if it fades away or if it gets hard, then just let it go, take a breath, and come back to it. Know that you can always take those breaks. But if you want to experiment with this a little bit more, then take one of your legs straight up towards the ceiling. Engage all those lines, pressing the ribs, the back ribs down, and then take 2 full breaths to lower that leg to the floor with your heel and your foot flexed. Very slowly down, keeping all that engagement. Don't touch the floor, come almost to the floor, and then very slowly back up. And we'll repeat this 2 more times with this leg before moving on to the other leg. Keep breathing, keeping that feeling in the belly of engagement. One more with this leg. And then when you finish this last one, let the knee bend, place it back on the floor. Moving on to the other side, don't start with the legs straight out. Start with it up towards the ceiling. It's a little easier for the back this way. Engage all those line segments. Engage with your core, and then 2 breaths with the heel flexed, foot flexed, all the way down, almost to the floor, and then back up. And repeat that 2 more times. If this feels like too much, I should have said this earlier, you can keep a little bend in the knee. That's fine. Maybe the toe taps as you come down. And back up. And then bringing that foot back to the floor, knees still bent. Let your arms go out perpendicular to your body. Let the hands relax. I don't know if you noticed my hands were clenched because I was engaging with the core, and that's what happens sometimes. So let the knees drop together to one side when you're finished. Taking a nice deep breath in, letting that breath go. Holding for a few breaths here. And then coming back up and over to the other side. Bringing the knees back up and preparing for meditation and Shavasana. So just find a position that's comfortable for you. If you need to have something under your knees, now would be the time to fix that. So as you find your way back into stillness or continuing with your stillness, take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, just let the body relax. Let your body be supported by the surfaces it's resting upon. And begin to notice with all your senses what is present in this space. What do you see? Even if your eyes are closed, maybe there's still some light coming through the eyelids. Maybe you can hear noises, sounds around you, smells, tastes, the touch of air on your skin. Your senses open and alive. And remind yourself of your inner resource, the place of ground and security that you can go to at a moment's notice. It might include people or animals, feelings, art, music, memories. Something that makes you feel safe, secure, grounded. And maybe you've gone from it being a person, place, or a thing to being a sensation in your body, such as maybe the feeling of being held or hugged moves from that to just a feeling of tightness around your chest that can then become your inner resource, feeling supported. Remind yourself of the heartfelt desire, wish, or prayer that you are working with right now. Something maybe for yourself, or for another, or for the world at large. And then out of that heartfelt desire, see if you can find one little piece to work on right now, setting that as your intention for this time. then let those three things fade into the background. And let the sound of my voice be your guide as we journey through your body. Noticing the tastes in your mouth, the inside cheeks left and right, roof of the mouth, floor of the mouth, the lips, jaw, on out to your ears, nose, eyes, the whole head and the neck, a field of sensation, feeling down your arms, through the shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, hands and all 10 fingers. The fingers, hands, and arms as a field of vibrant or radiant sensation, moving into the upper chest and upper back, middle chest and middle back, abdomen and lower back, the whole torso, a field of sensation, moving down into the buttocks and hips, both thighs, knees, lower legs, feet and all 10 toes, both legs as a field of radiant or vibrant sensation, your whole body as a field of sensation, feeling the outside of the body, the surface of the body, inside the body, and to the lungs that are breathing. With each inhale, feeling the lungs expand, and with each exhale, feeling them contract. No need to change anything. The body breathing naturally and rhythmically. Inhale, abdomen rising. Exhale, abdomen releasing. No need to change anything. The body breathing itself. And then begin counting your breaths backwards from 7 to 1 in the following manner. Inhale, abdomen rising, 7. Exhale, abdomen releasing, 7. Inhale, abdomen rising, 6. Exhale, abdomen releasing, 6. Continue counting and breathing in your body's own natural breathing rhythm. And if you lose your place, simply beginning again at 7. Breathing, counting, and being with everything just as it is. And then let go of counting with no need to reach 1. And notice the fields or flows of sensation throughout the body. Noticing your body and noticing your thoughts. And just for a moment, breathe through your nose only, breathing in and out through your nose, if that's possible. If you're congested or that feels too hard, then just keep breathing. Breathing through your nose allows your air that you breathe in to be filtered by the hair follicles in your nose. It helps to keep germs away. As that air goes further back and hits your sinuses, it picks up a little hit of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is very important in the exchange of oxygen and carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, CO2, sorry. So it helps with that. It helps the veins to become bigger, vasodilation. More oxygen moving through your blood, moving out to all of your tissues, and bringing that CO2 waste back and out. Your nose is small, a lot smaller than your mouth. So the nose, breathing through the nose is a natural way to slow down. All of this helps one to calm down. Nitric oxide helps to bring calm into the body. So you can be in an uncomfortable situation. Nobody has to know it. Breathe through your nose. Breathe that calm in and out through your nose. And notice how the breath feels now, and in the body too. Remind yourself of the intention you set for this time. Maybe it needs a little revision for your next practice. Remind yourself of your heartfelt desire, wish for the world. And remind yourself of that deep inner resource that's always there for you. If this practice gets heavy or if life gets heavy and you need to take a momentary time out, always come back to this inner resource, your happy place. And then begin to bring your attention to your body and to your breath. As you feel ready, moving the small muscles first, the fingers and the toes. Moving the larger muscles when you're ready, arms and legs. Bending the knees. Maybe give the knees a hug. Maybe roll to a side. Pausing in the fetal position for a breath or two. And then using the palms of your hands, push yourself back up to sitting. And taking your hands down, touch the earth. Inhale the arms up to the sky, bringing the palms together. Exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. Eyes closed, head bows. Take one last deep breath in through your nose. And let that breath go. eyes open, head lifts, and namaste. Have a wonderful week.